love ECU? Do you bleed purple and gold? Are you ready to hoist the colors?
Hoist the colors!
It's time for the most in-depth look into the world of ECU athletics. Welcome to Hoist the Colors with your host, Stephen Igo on 94.3 The Game. Watch the show live on Facebook and at 943thegame.com. Here's Stephen Igo.
Welcome in, Hoist the Colors. It's a new week. Man, what a great weekend of football in the NFL. Also, the college football playoff national title game is set. We'll get into that this week, and also more playoff talk coming your way shortly. The ECU spring semester has begun on campus, so the Pirates now have almost their full team in town. Still a few extra additions to come, most likely. We'll get into that and a whole lot more throughout this week. But the staff is here, although they are out at the convention right now in Charlotte, so some of those guys are heading out there. But more than not, they had a team meeting last night, and ECU football, as we head towards the 2026 season, is starting to take form. Well, in our second segment today, we'll talk about our favorite transfer portal additions and what we still want to see added, as ECU has now closing in, I believe, on 20 commitments or signees for the transfer portal class. I'll get into all the things that can happen with the semester beginning. There is a deadline to get these guys in the school. We'll break that down as well. So much more to come on the football front with the portal. As always, a reminder, if you want more scoop behind the scenes, just posted a in-depth article with Mitch Griffiths, new quarterback signee, on Hoist the Colors for our subscribers. 50% off right now online, so make sure to take advantage of that. Also, follow us on the 94.3 The Game YouTube, Facebook, and social media pages. Our YouTube page numbers continue to climb. That's where we get all our live broadcasts along with the Patrick Johnson Show, the Logan Zone as well. And your comments are welcome for today throughout the hour. We've got Philip Hilkinen. He is back in the 94.3 The Game studios. He just got back from Charlotte. We're going to do what we don't normally do, and that's we're not going to start with ECU today. We're going to start with the NFL just because it was such a great weekend. We will circle back to ECU a lot in segment 2 and for the rest of the show. But, Philip, first off, I know that it was a tough loss. I do want to commend you for challenging the Panthers fans because I don't know if any of them heard it, but it sounded like they did based on watching on TV. The crowd was great. It was a phenomenal game. Sorry that your Carolina Panthers came up a little bit short, but how was the experience in Charlotte?
I challenged them, and they heard the challenge. 30 minutes before the seating bowl was 90% full. It was loud. It was rocking. We did not sit much during the game. I think majority of the sitting that I did happened during halftime, which had a really cool light show, by the way. Normally I don't care that much about what they do at halftime, but that was fun. Yeah, man, the crowd was great. It didn't take till third down for them to get out of their seats. It didn't wait till 2 seconds before the ball was snapped to get loud. Thought the crowd really was the best energy since it might have even been better than in the NFC Championship game, just because that one was such a blowout in 2015. But best crowd in a long time. And then as far as the game, yeah, I mean, was it disappointing? Sure. Anytime you're in a game that you could win, you're disappointed when you don't. But with that being said, the team went out there. They went toe-to-toe with one of the best teams in the league. They didn't embarrass themselves. They got down early, 14-0. We thought it was over. They believed. And look, credit to the Rams, credit to Matthew Stafford, who made one of the best throws I've ever seen in person. The safety was draped all over Colby Parkinson. He was pinning him as close to the sideline as he could without committing pass interference, and that was the perfect back shoulder throw. And also credit to Puka Nacua, who knocked the ball out of Nick Scott's hand. I think if that interception happens on the drive where they're up 24-20 and the Rams are going in to score, and Nick Scott had it in his hands, but it's one of those, it's tough to be strong because he was falling back. And Puka knocked it out of his hand, made a great play, and look, at the end of the day, I think it was an evenly matched game, and the Rams made one more play than the Panthers, and you tip your cap to them, you walk out disappointed, but by no means was I ticked off, other than when we went for it on 4th and 3 on the first drive. I may have asked to fire Canales after that one, but, other than that.
So, all right, so I was texting my brother about this last night. He texted me about it first, so I'll give him credit. But what is up with all the coaches all of a sudden just going for like every 4th and like we're not even talking about 4th and 1 necessarily all the time. There's a lot of like 4th and 4, around midfield, 4th and 4 in prime field goal position. And like the Chargers did it last night after getting the early turnover, didn't come away with any points. We saw the Panthers do it. We saw the Rams do it. We've seen almost every coach in the league elect to go for it and often, a lot of times not get it. So like I guess it's an analytics thing, but I feel like in the playoffs, man, you got to take the points in these situations. I don't know. Are we overthinking it?
No, we're not overthinking it. These coaches are all morons, okay? Look, I'm texting other former coaches about it, and they agree with us. Not naming names, but you might be able to do process of elimination. They agree with us. Look, I mean, I'm all for going for it when you're on the plus 37-yard line. It's like, do I trust my kicker from 55? I don't know. And if I punt and it goes in the end zone, it's only a 17-yard difference anyways. It's 4th and 3. Yeah, that's fine. Or even on the plus 40-yard line where it's a 58-yard field goal. And it's only going to be a 20-yard difference if the punt goes in the end zone. That's fine. The issue is when you're going forward on the minus 35-yard line or the 10-yard line where you get 3 points right there and you're chasing points. The only reason the Panthers are in the playoffs is because the Packers chased points and kicked too many, or went for it too many times. And if they would have kicked field goals, the Bucs would have won the NFC South. So there you go. Chasing points doesn't work.
Yeah, it's weird. And there was even a situation, speaking of not chasing points, last night where the Patriots went up 16-3 with like 8 minutes left, and they went up 15-3. They didn't go for 2. Yeah, and they kicked their point. Now it didn't matter, but like at the time, I was like, "Why would you not go for 2 there?" I mean, I don't understand what's happening. But
I guess the only thing I can understand maybe is like kicking's been bad, right? So it's like, man, if we're up 13, all they got to do is miss one PAT. But the thing is like Dicker the kicker's pretty darn automatic. I would be trying to get up 14 there and play for overtime. Yeah, I'm all for going for 2 when you're up 12 or when you're up 5. But
yeah,
yeah, sometimes this stuff's just dumb.
Whatever the analytics book says, they do it. All right. Kenny Curlin says, guys, I believe that was one of the best playoff weekends I can remember. Great games,
wasn't one
pro
of.
And college. It had to be
It was the best,
right?
Yeah.
I mean, the first, 4 games were all 4 points or less? Yeah. And, of course, the Chargers would be the team that would ruin it. I mean,
yeah, but still, they did ruin it. But with 5 minutes to go, the game technically was in doubt. It still kept you engaged. Yeah, they had a shot. So it wasn't like, they lost by 13, but they were down by 20, and they scored with a minute left to make it 13. Like they were down by 6, and the New England scored.
Yeah, compared to previous wildcard weekends, I can't remember anything better. And we'll see how it finishes tonight. We still got Texans Steelers. I don't know if there will be many points scored in that one, but I think it'll be a close game at least, unless the Texans get a defensive score or something. All right, a couple of final things here on the Panthers. I'll get your take on, Philip, before we move into the other NFL action. Jay Hobb says Panthers rushed their last sequence of downs, and then Ryan Cole says Evero killed the Panthers with the defensive calls on the last Rams drive. Stafford had struggled against pressure all night, and he played prevent. So what's your take on those 2 comments?
Yeah, so first off, the last drive did seem a little rushed, a little disconjointed. Maybe the block punt was a bad thing. Could have had the ball just down the same amount of points with 4 minutes and a full length of the field to go. But it's one of those things. It's so tough in that situation, and it kind of felt like the wind got taken out of the sails when the Rams scored. Evero, look, it was way too prevent considering they had 3 timeouts. He had struggled some against pressure. Now, with that being said, he is the best quarterback this year against pressure. He's got 29 touchdowns and 3 interceptions, something crazy when being blitzed. So it is Stafford, but I think you can't be in that situation. Now, part of it is J.C. Horn was not on the field. He did get injured. But I agree. They shouldn't have gone into prevent. Look, and this thing, if you get burnt, then they score even earlier, and you've got more time for your offense. Where it really ticked me off about Evero is there was a play early in the game. It was like 3rd and 5. We had Christian Roseboom guarding Devontae Adams on a 3rd and 5, and he catches a little out route. It's like, what are we doing, man? I'm not an Evero fan. I don't think he should be fired because of the last drive, but I'm not a fan of him. But hey, maybe he'll go to the Raiders and be the Raiders head coach, and they can continue to be a dumpster fire. So I'm all for it. It's just, everybody's like, well, he went from the 32nd best defense to the 15th best defense. Well, we also added like 5 pieces, and our all-pro defensive tackle wasn't hurt the whole year. Yeah, it's going to look better. So, I don't know. Yeah, you got to be somewhat aggressive, man. He didn't pressure hardly all night. To your point, he was bad against it, but half the time we weren't even pressuring. So, I don't know, man. I was happy. I wasn't fired up. Yeah. Now I'm fired up and ticked off.
It's always easy to second guess, but I do agree too. I almost want to be aggressive in those situations because even if you give up a big play and a quick score, then you have more time to answer. Like, given the timeout situation, So like, hey, go try to make them make a play, and if they hit a home run, all right, then we got more time to answer. But I'm with you there. I mean, as a non-Panthers fan, watching Bryce Young look good in a playoff game has to be encouraging. So, I mean, that throw he made to give them the lead, that was an incredible throw. So, I was impressed, and I was impressed by Panthers fans. So, again, something to truly build off of for me, even in a loss. Like, as a non-Panthers fan, you guys have something now. You just got to keep it together. So, I'm encouraged.
With next year's schedule, we'll probably win about 4 games. But, hey, at least it's something to build off of, man. They look good. And, Bryce, I was talking about it with Zach after the game. Like, I think he's at least earned the 5th-year option. And then you can see what happens if he, is dog water next year. Then, you would still have the 5th-year option. You've already picked it up, but still, you can think about moving on. But I say the jury's out on Bryce. And at one time, it was he's terrible. We're back to the jury's still out.
Big year coming up, no doubt about that. All right, other action. Speaking of jury's still out, so like Caleb Williams. I mean, all right. So the Bears were down 21-3. Caleb Williams, I swear he was throwing the game at one point. I mean, he was just like overthrowing guys, spiking in the dirt, and then all of a sudden they get a little momentum. That 4th down throw he made across his body over 2 defenders on the sideline was incredible. That was the game. If that's incomplete, they lose. The Packers, what a flail of an ending there, considering all their expectations. Obviously, the injuries had a lot to do with it, but to be up in that spot and not be able to close – this has kind of been the Bears all year. They're kind of like the Broncos of the NFC. Like it's not pretty, but they find ways to win. And obviously, their head coach Ben Johnson doing a heck of a job. What did you make of that game?
Yeah, I mean, and that throw he made was after a false start, so it backed him up from 4th and 3 to 4th and 8. Look, Caleb is proving why he was the number 1 pick right now. I think last year was a little but like you said, they're gritty. They win games late. Total Ben Johnson, what you would expect out of him. It was a great game, man. It was at least there was some back and forth at the end. Yes, the Bears caught him and took the lead, but at least Green Bay, I think Reed took the lead, and then the Bears ended up winning the game. But man, a lot of people were saying fire LaFleur. Yes, they blew it, but I do want to remind everybody, like that team is very banged up, and they were given some of those points early. It wasn't like they were just totally kicking their butt. Like you said, Caleb Williams was giving them the game, and yeah, you shouldn't blow the lead, but. Look, they got injured, and they got injured late in the season. There's a lot of pieces they haven't learned how to live without, and it's the same thing that happened to Detroit last year, man. They were banged up, and they get to the playoffs, and Washington handed it to them. So, I don't want to see LaFleur fired. I think Jordan Love's still a good quarterback. It's frustrating. I know if you're a Packers fan, it's happened back-to-back years, but, hey, man, that's playoff football, and it was fun, and it capped off a great, great day that Saturday was between those 2 games.
Then you get to Sunday, the early game was Jags-Bills, the game I was looking forward to most. I was at the ECU game, watching a lot of it on my phone. Bills find a way to win. 2 Trevor Lawrence interceptions loom large, and Buffalo carried Josh Allen on 4th and inches. It looked like a touchdown initially, ended up being first and goal from the 1. They still score, but Buffalo wins. I said the winner of that game would go to the Super Bowl. Buffalo, Allen's kind of banged up, and they're kind of really outside of Cook and Allen, they're not that great of a team, but they have star power. You also look at the rest of Sunday slate. San Fran finds a way to win. You've got A.J. Brown yelling at Sirianni on the sideline. Karma comes back to strike A.J. Brown as he drops a crucial pass. Niners win, and then the Patriots. The Patriots are just a solid team, man. They don't beat themselves. The Chargers, they looked horrible. Speaking of injuries, their offensive line is a sieve right now, and it showed. So what'd you make of Sunday's action?
First off, starting with the first game, so I had a buddy who's a Bills fan that went. I didn't know Jacksonville had fans other than Jansen. Supposedly they were not very nice to our friends who were Bills fans. I thought like Jacksonville fans, the ones that existed, would be kind of chill. He sent me some stuff, especially they were getting cussed at and stuff thrown at them. But they did have dinner with Josh Allen's parents after the game. They just went into this bar and sat down and started talking to these people, and it turned out to be Josh Allen's parents. So they were extremely cool, and they hung out with them. But that was a phenomenal game, back and forth. That's what we wanted to see. Those are two great football teams. As for the middle game there, yeah, Philly, like Mark Miller said, that OC's got to go. The team's good. Their OC and offense is a wreck, and it's all his fault. As for the late game, yeah, Chargers going to charge her.
Chargers are going to charge her. Nothing makes me happier. I mean, the Broncos could lose now, and I'll still be happy as long as the Chargers aren't winning the Super Bowl.
You say that like that's the team you hate the least, I feel like, out of those three teams.
But the reason I hate them the least is because they're a non-threat in the playoffs. They do this every freaking year. It's amazing. I mean, they get so hyped, and I even hyped them up. I was like, they're going to win. They're a good team. But no, they get to the playoffs, and they just forget how to play football. Justin Herbert died on the field last night, and the Chargers were willing to let it happen.
Speaking of the Chargers and playoff success, how old were you when they even played this? Do you even remember watching them play the one time they did make a Super Bowl? You had to be like 2 years old, right? Yeah.
No, I don't remember it at all.
Okay, that's what I thought. So, yeah, you've seen no Chargers playoff success. You've seen, what, 2 AFC championship losses? Yeah,
I was born in 92. They made their first appearance in January 95. So, yeah, I would have been less than 3. Yeah. I would have remembered it. So, all right, let's get a break in. There is your NFL talk. We'll talk NFL all week. It should be we got more football tonight, which is going to be great. Texans Steelers, but Chargers come up short. Kenny says I felt bad for the Chargers quarterback. He got brutalized. Well, he'll be all right. He's got a pretty good girlfriend to head back to home, and I'm sure he's got enough money to fall back on. But yeah, tough night for Justin Herbert. Let's get a break in. We will come back. We'll switch gears. We'll talk East Carolina, the transfer portal. The class is not completely done, but the vast majority of it done with school starting today. We'll get into that, our favorite additions, what happened over the weekend, all that and more. This is Hoist the Colors on a Monday.
Big tax credits are back. Get a 30% tax credit, up to $2,000 off your new Mitsubishi electric heat pump install. Let Comfort Master help you take advantage of the tax credits with a qualifying Mitsubishi electric ducted heat pump or non-ducted Mitsubishi electric mini splits. Mitsubishi electric mini splits are ideal for bonus rooms, garages, or sunrooms. If you need a new HVAC unit, call Comfort Master today.
Call Comfort Master. Call Comfort Master.
You know what the problem is with standard belts? Usually you have to choose between too tight or the opposite, too loose. But with Anson Belt and Buckle, you don't have to choose. We got rid of the holes and instead have a track system designed for micro-adjustability. That way you can enjoy a perfect fit every time. Anson Belt and Buckle. Find your perfect fit today.
Healthwise Pharmacy rounds the bases with all of your infusion, retail, compounding, and medical equipment needs. Locally owned and operated by pharmacist Marcy Parker, Healthwise has grown to be your most trusted provider for infusion services. Currently providing in-home or on-site infusions in North Carolina, South Carolina, and Virginia. Visit Healthwise Pharmacy at 615B South Memorial Drive or call 252-295-0059 to speak to a patient service representative to find the option that best suits your needs.
The best burgers around. Everyone loves a thick, juicy, and fresh burger. Tiebreakers does real burgers better than anybody. And don't forget about the cheese sticks, fresh salads, and more. So don't just go to any burger-themed restaurant chain. It's time to break the chain and eat local. Tiebreakers, burgers and sports at its best.
Go Pirates! Arrgh!
In this age of globalization, we've learned that bigger isn't always better. Ever tried to get phone help from a big corporation from a real person? Right. That's what's so nice about Phelps Chevrolet. After more than 50 years serving our community, Phelps remains family-owned and operated. Mike, Daryl, Wave, West, Alan, and Clay deliver hometown service and integrity, same as always. They share your experience, they share your values, and they are ready to help with any motoring need. Come get you one.
For over 51 years, Parker's Barbecue has brought families together with our award-winning whole hog barbecue and fried chicken. Tradition is important at Parker's Barbecue, and for 3 generations, the Parker's Way has stood the test of time. Whether you visit our dining rooms or drive-thrus, use our on-site catering, or even use our nationwide shipping, the hospitality, barbecue, fried chicken, homemade sides are still the same.
We are the Parker family. Come in and let our family show you. This is the Parker's Way.
Oh, hey, welcome back. You got here just in time. This is Hoist the Colors on 94.3 The Game.
All right, welcome back in. Hoist the Colors here, segment 2 on our Monday show. We'll transition now to ECU. Had to get some playoff talk in, man. I know, obviously, this is an ECU-centric show, but it was such a fun weekend, and soon we're just going to have basically basketball to talk about until baseball season gets here. By the way, Pirates not ranked in the preseason D1 baseball top 25. What's going on there? We will react to that as well.
We did get ranked in Baseball America, though, right? I think
it's Perfect Game.
Oh, Perfect Game. That's what it was, Perfect Game. Yeah.
Which, I don't even count. I've never seen a Perfect Game writer at any ECU event since I started covering the sport. So
fair enough.
But I guess it counts. I guess ECU can cite itself as number 25. It gives Cliff Godwin something else to talk about, which, by the way, we will have ECU Baseball Media Day next Monday. Our plan right now for the show is we'll record live that morning, 9:30 to 10:30, react to the weekend that was, because the actual Media Day will be held in the lunch hour during our showtime. We want to be there for all those interviews. So we'll confirm that, but that's our plan as of now. All right, Philip Pilkington back in the 94.3 The Game studios. Big weekend, big week for ECU football. We touched on a lot of these commitments from the transfer portal. Basically, you're trying to build a team. In a week and a half, 2 weeks, the transfer portal window runs from January 2nd through the 16th, so players can still enter. But as a reminder, the semester starts today. Now, you can get players into school a week, maybe too late, but there's going to be a lot of, you can't push it so much. Now, if it's a quarterback or somebody big, which we'll get into here in a little bit, I think you can make an exception, but it can't be the norm. So you have your vast majority of players now committed. A lot of those guys, if they're not here already, they'll be coming to school by the end of the week because they got to get started on classes. So over the weekend, East Carolina continued to add to the classes. A rundown. The big news over the weekend was the offensive line additions. Pirates added Brandon Best, Kennesaw State transfer, all-conference guard. He'll slot right in, play either left guard, right guard, can play center, potentially too. He's done all that in the past. Former Georgia Tech player. They also added Hayes Creel, 6'7", 310, offensive lineman from Southern Miss. Now, the key thing here with both these guys, ECU beat Memphis head-to-head on both players. And in the revenue share era, that's a pretty loud statement to me. I think that's a big deal. We'll get more into that with our favorite additions here in a minute. Zaire Gamble from Appalachian State committed. One of their best secondary members hit the portal, came to town, committed shortly after. And then Jeremiah Melvin, former 4-star recruit out of Cape Fear High School, spent 2 years at Wake Forest, didn't produce a ton there, but has a ton of upside. So officially, ECU has 17 announced transfers. Now, I have heard also they're going to be adding a punter. Not sure when that will be announced, but that's in the process. They're also adding a couple of linebackers from Memphis. They have not officially been announced yet. So really, you got 20 commitments, and then we're kind of all waiting on the quarterback situation. You may see another lineman or two added. So let's just talk about maybe some of our favorite additions here, Philip. And look, I know you follow it, from afar to a degree, but once they're committed, I know you start to look into them. So as you look at this portal class, and there's a lot to unpack here, does a name or two jump off the page at you?
I like the UT Rio Grande Valley tight end, Ishmael Smith Flores. I know we already talked about him, but a guy who's played both sides of the ball at the collegiate level is huge, right? You really love to see that on top of a guy who's, played, his father played in the NFL. So that's the big one that comes out to me. And then the kid from Kennesaw State, right? If you get an all-conference lineman, I know we kind of make fun of the lesser group of 5 conferences. We think that us in the Mountain West are better than everybody else, which we are. But still, anytime you got a guy who's all-conference at those levels, maybe each guy, player in, player out, they're not to the level of the American, but their top guys in those conferences are more than good to be here. And if he can play 3 positions, I think those are kind of your big additions because anybody who's versatile, you never know what's going to happen with injuries, and both those guys are very versatile and have had success in college football.
I echo those sentiments. I'm a big fan of really both tight ends. I do like Flores' upside a lot, and I just like the O-line, man. I think ECU. Look, I don't know. At some point we may have to do an exercise that ECU get better, or stay even, or maybe even downgrade in some of these because they did lose a lot of key players to the portal. But I feel like on the offensive line, yeah, you lost McCrimmon, yeah, you lost Poku and some guys to graduation, but ECU to me has landed 3 pretty proven guys in the portal. And I feel like more times than not, I look at the portal O-line additions, I'm like, yeah, that might work out, but you kind of crossing your fingers. Ethan Kramer, yeah, he's only played in the FCS, but he's done so for 4 or 5 years. He's an older guy, 6'4", 300. He's coming off a season where he just played 900 snaps at a high level at Northern Arizona. He also can play tackle. Brandon Best, we just talked about him, all-conference guy. Heading into his 5th year of college football, he's going to come in ready to play. Hayes Creel, he's done it at FCS. He's 6'7", 310. He's a plug-and-play offensive tackle. We'll see where he ends up, right tackle or left tackle, but he played, again, well over 900 snaps last year. And so, to me, Philip, you almost take those 3 guys and you pair them with what's coming back, because you can't just rely on the portal when it comes to the offensive line. You got to have some internal development as well. So we know Bryce Weaver's coming back. He started at right tackle last year. He can play inside too. We know Marley O'Neillian is coming back. He started the Tulane game at tackle last year as a redshirt sophomore, a guy that's developing, big size, upside. I think he'll contend. And then you have Carson Jones coming off injury. So, that's 6 guys, and there's 2 JUCOs coming in as well, some other guys who have redshirted. So, the offensive line, we both know it's never going to be perfect, but considering what you lost, I think it's starting to add up to what can be a pretty good group. And now it's just where do the pieces fit? Who's going to play center and that sort of thing?
Yeah, and look, that's what camp's for, right? You can move some pieces around, and spring ball you can move some pieces around, but each position is different, and it's a lot different, especially when you talk about left tackle and right tackle. So we'll see. Big thing, man, I want to see a healthy Carson Jones. I mean, this is a guy who was recruited by Houston for a reason, and the reason he didn't start there is, that was a really, really good offensive line he was behind, because when he was a backup there, Clayton Tune was the starting quarterback. Remember how good those Houston teams were? So if we can have him healthy, I know we're supposed to be talking about transfers, but or this year's transfers, but I'm with you, Steven. I think there's 7 or 8 guys they're really going to feel good about, and if you can feel good about 7 or 8 guys at any level of football, you're in a good spot. So especially in the era of the portal and everything, and being at a group of 5 school, because anybody who's worth a damn is going to a big-time school. And if you feel like you've got 8, you're in a good spot.
Receiver-wise, I like what they've done in the portal thus far. You get Jakeith Hamilton, 6'2", 206, who had around 600 yards receiving at Furman and had 0 drops on the season, so kind of a sure-handed possession receiver added there. Jeremiah Melvin's the big, wild card to me. I think he's got true number 1 potential at receiver. It's just how does it all come together? You look at his high school tape, and he's basically unstoppable on the jump ball. Well, now you're in college. You got to develop more to your game. So at worst, he's going to be a red zone threat going into his redshirt sophomore season. Can he develop? Can he buy into coaching and really get the whole route tree, or at least some semblance of it? I think his size makes him an absolute nightmare. And then you got 2 really interesting players. Obviously, Landon Sides from North Texas, he's going to be a plug-and-play guy, can play outside perimeter. You add him and Brock Spalding, similar builds, similar size, versatility. They can play anywhere. And then the other wild card is Ray Joseph out of Miami, 5'10", 180, slot receiver build, and a guy who is known for his after-the-catch ability. So 4 receivers added, Phillip, and I kind of like that they're going to numbers there. As far as I know, I think Jaquez Petaway is back and Tyler Johnson. They're still on the roster right now. They haven't entered the portal. So, you got a lot of bodies again, and I think competition will reign supreme. Whoever emerges is going to be pretty darn good.
I would think so. My question is, who's the number 1?
Yeah.
I think you added 2 big bodies. I think the kid from Furman is probably the most well-rounded, but still, he's kind of your physical receiver. and you've added some speedsters. Who am I going to trust to run every route on the route tree? Who am I going to trust to sit in the perfect hole and zone and burn the guy in man? Who's the number one? And that is, it would be really nice. The portal's about to close, or the portal entries, to still get one more, to get a guy who's an all-around talent. The problem is, if he's an all-around talent, is he still in the portal on January the 12th? Probably not.
And I'm also a fan, lastly, before we get a break in, we'll come back and talk about guys who ECU needs to add, and we'll answer a lot of your questions we still have. But also a fan of what ECU has done in the secondary here. Again, attacking this thing in numbers. They add 3 corners, Ashton Levels from FIU, who has played a good amount of ball. Jalen Bowden, who was an all-conference guy at the FCS level, goes to Minnesota, now looking to bounce back after not playing a whole lot there. And then Ramon Mosby out of Louisville, who's played a decent amount his first 2 years with the Cardinals, including a lot in the bowl game as a true freshman in 2024. And then Christian Peterson from UCF, another Westlake guy like Ramon Mosby, Westlake High School. So they're reuniting. And Zaire Gamble, to me, is a huge add. He's an all-conference caliber safety. I expect him to kind of slot into that really playmaking role on the back end that maybe ECU misses now with Jamarly Riddle leaving. So really like what they've done at O-line, receiver, DB, and then running back as well. Michael Allen coming back home and Ashton Gray. So those are kind of your highlights ECU has hit in the portal. We'll get a break in. What do we want to see ECU continue to add? We'll hit on that. Also, a lot of questions in the chat we'll address. Yes, I know everybody wants to know about quarterback. We'll continue to talk about that as well. This is Hoist the Colors.
Storm season is approaching. North Carolina weather can damage your roof, and before long, a small leak can turn into a big problem. Your home is one of your biggest investments, so protect it with Wells Home Improvements.
We work with all insurance companies for a hassle-free roof installation experience. Call us today and get 10% off your roof installation when you mention this commercial.
252-227-8403 or visit us online at wellshomeimprovements.com. Wells Home Improvements. Local, honest, dependable.
This is about you, your family, and the health of all who live in Eastern North Carolina. This is about the transformation of a health system into something more powerful and more human. About creating new ways to treat disease and keep you well. This is about ECU Health, which is to say, it's really all about you. ECU Health. Minds, hearts, purpose.
You have a choice when you invest in insurance, and when you choose First State Insurance Advisors, you're working with people you can trust. Clark Stallings has deep ties in the community. His team, including Keaton Smith, Regina Asby, Phil Leyva, Max Joyner Jr., Max Joyner III, and Ginger Smith, provides knowledgeable and professional advice. First State Insurance Advisors is an independent insurance agency. They offer all types of personal insurance as well as various types for business. Call or email First State Insurance Advisors today. We want to be your trusted choice agency.
Acre Station Meat Farm, along with Lane Angus Beef, bring you farm to fork beef.
Stock your freezers now with affordable beef boxes, just in time for the grilling season.
Farm to fork beef brings quality local beef to your family. From your traditional butcher shop, Acre Station Meat Farm. Come on down to Acre Station Meat Farm and find out why we're #1 in fresh cuts and friendly service.
Acre Station Meat Farm, Highway 32 North, Pinetown. At National Finance, we're all about hometown support, just like ECU football. National Finance helps us win on and off the field. They've got your back when you need it most. Fast, easy personal loans for life's big plays. And just like us, they're committed to Eastern North Carolina. National Finance, proud supporters of ECU athletics. Visit nfcmoney.com for loans as fast as today.
Remember, the podcast of the show on the IBS Media app or where you get your podcasts. Got it. You want to say it twice? I remember it. Steve Michael and Hoist the Colors on 94.3 The Game.
All right, back in. Hoist the Colors here, segment 3 on the program. Got a lot of questions to get to. So here quickly, Philip Pilkington rejoins us. We were talking about our favorite additions from the portal. Ran through that pretty good. And I like what ECU's done. I mean, they've done a lot. Anything else we want to see? I mean, the obvious is the quarterback position. We're getting some questions in the chat. I'll go ahead and address that. Essentially, there are a few things in motion behind the scenes. I think we'll be waiting a little bit longer, but ECU's quarterback situation maybe doesn't appear as dire as it may seem. Obviously, Pirates already added Mitch Griffiths. We know that. He will have a chance to compete for the starting job. Now, Chaston Ditta leaves. That really adds the need for another quarterback. So I still think you will have ECU add 2 more quarterbacks, probably a starting caliber quarterback to compete with Griffiths, and then a depth guy to kind of take the place of Ditta and potentially have some more upside there. So I still expect 2 more quarterbacks to be added. Beyond that, Pirates are looking at options, maybe kicker, long snapper. They already have the punter. They do have Andrew Conrad, Noah Perez coming back, so we'll see what happens at kicker. Also, maybe another piece on the O-line, D-line, and maybe another skill player if one falls through the cracks. But they're getting low on scholarship numbers here, Philip, so I don't necessarily think we're going to see a lot of additions. But if the right fit comes along and if somebody falls through the cracks, I definitely think so. What do you want to see them add specifically? If Philip Pilkington is the GM, what's he calling for right now?
I don't know if there's enough scholarships to do this, but I want one more guy added at each defensive box position. I want one more edge rusher, one more defensive tackle, one more inside linebacker, one more outside linebacker. And I know those are the places we do have the most depth. Those are the places we did graduate our starters, but our 2s are ready to slot in, and the guys behind them are pretty good. But we haven't hit on that at all. And now it is the least position of need, but we're getting 2 and 3 everywhere else. It'd be nice just to have one, just because some of the guys are going to be filling into these spots. Our new 2s haven't played. We think they're good. We don't know they're good. I would like to get some guys, even if they just played at the FCS level, just some depth pieces to be behind those starters who've played college football. So I know that's not a very good answer because I just named 4 things I wanted, but I want all 4.
I think you'll definitely see some additions at linebacker here shortly. We're getting some questions in the chat about Zakai Barker. So Zakai Barker did visit over the weekend. I felt at the time very good about his chances of returning. I thought with him coming back on a visit to his former home, he most likely would commit. Now, my intel over the weekend was he is heading elsewhere. Has not been announced yet. I was here in North Texas. Now, here's the thing. Zakai, obviously, in Dallas with SMU. He just got married, and I think that is going to play a big role in his decision. I think he gave strong consideration to coming back. Maybe things change, but I would expect Zakai at this time to not end up back at ECU. And that's why ECU will probably soon announce a few more linebacker additions that they had ready to go as well. So that's my latest intel on Zakai Barker. CJ Mims, somebody asked about him. He just signed with Texas A&M. So CJ Mims is heading to the SEC. And it's just crazy because I'm a huge fan of CJ. I think he's a good player. I don't think he's any better than what ECU has at starting D tackle right now. And so, I'm okay with it. I would not have broke the bank for CJ Mims' return, and I think he's a solid player. Glad he's going to the SEC, where he'll, I'm sure, be a rotational piece for the Aggies and probably have a shot to compete in the CFP. So congrats to him on that. Some other questions here. Kenny says we need D-line. I'm still waiting on confirmation what exactly will happen with Xavier McIver, as he is a possibility to return with an extra year. If he comes back, I feel a little better about the D-line depth, and they have some guys they're developing that I feel solid about. So I'm waiting to see what happens with McIver. Have we talked about Zion Wilson entering the portal on this show? Because that happened. I can't recall my days here, but I think
know
that
it all
happened
runs together. I don't think no.
So
let's start talking about it, and then it'll click if we have.
I know. He entered the portal, I want to say maybe Friday or Saturday. Either way, he entered the portal with the contingency of getting an extra year of eligibility, which right now he does not have. Now, I did see he was visiting Clemson. I guess Mike Houston's still there. Either way, somebody asked why did that happen. He's just trying to cash in and probably has a better chance of getting the extra year of eligibility if his name is out there. The other thing, you had Trinidad Chambliss get denied. Now they're suing the NCAA. I mean, all this stuff is just a giant mess. So
the
maybe he
08
feels
Lions won the same amount of games as lawsuits the NCAA has won. So
this is very true. And so it's a situation where his representation, he just signed with an agent, probably feels like he's got a better shot at A, getting paid, and B, getting approved with the extra attention by entering the portal. So I would not expect him back as of now. And he's the guy ECU was not counting on to have back because he didn't have any eligibility left. Kenny says, can't we still get players after spring ball? You can. Kenny, you can actually sign them at any time. Now, the problem is obviously the deadline to enter the portal is January 16th. So more than likely after spring ball, there's not going to be a whole lot out there. And you can't force players into the portal after spring, I don't believe. So
okay, that's what I was going to ask you.
Yeah.
So back even in the day, that I know there was technically a spring window, but remember there would be like, hey, we've got too many guys. We don't have enough scholarships. We're just like telling dudes to leave. Is that can you still like cut players? Like how does that work? And not that you're like you probably want dudes to have been cut, but if Georgia cuts a guy because they don't have enough scholarships, like can they still cut people? Like do you have to have your 85 scholarships set in stone when spring starts? I'm confused kind of on how that works.
I don't know. That's a good question. I would think usually scholarships are year to year. And so I would think you'd have to almost have them ready to roll for the guys returning for this semester and approve them through the entire year. I guess the only stipulation would be if they get in trouble and, they have to basically get kicked off the team. If you have a reason to kick them off the team, then you can open that scholarship. But I don't think they can enter the portal until the next year unless maybe they're a grad transfer. Yeah. So I think you basically have to make your situation, or you have to make your call right now, which is why you're seeing so many players enter the portal, because you want to leave maybe some wiggle room for a guy or two. And the other thing, too, is if it's me, you're full on 85. If you find a stud that fell through the cracks in the spring, just get a donor or find a way to write an extra revenue share check, to get that guy into school. And then maybe, I don't know, cut a walk-on, as bad as that is. I mean, you got to find a way to manipulate the numbers to win football games. I think
now we're not going to meet the whatever the new standard is, anyways. We probably wouldn't even have to cut a walk on. Other schools would, but are we even going to have the 105?
So ECU will have 105 players, but it'll just be the 85 scholarships probably.
Oh, okay.
So they'll have the 20 walk-ons, but they will not, as far as I know, they are not planning to go much above 85 scholarships. All right, some questions here from the chat. A lot of questions about quarterback. Somebody wants to know about Ethan Grunkmeyer. So there was a rumor on social media that the Penn State quarterback transfer who had committed to Virginia Tech was going to come to ECU instead. To my knowledge, that I have not heard his name a single time. So unless it is the greatest heist of all time, then I think that is just a false rumor. We also had another comment that says, reported that we are signing the backup quarterback from Miami or Indiana. Any truth? All I will say is let's see how things shake out after that game, because there are some things in motion behind the scenes, and there's still two teams playing. And those two teams have a policy that if you enter the portal, you can't play in the national title game. And players, here's the thing, players that play in the national title game can enter the portal up to 5 days after the national title game. So that's where your difference is there. As far as the portal closes for everybody else on January 16, but if you're playing in the championship, you still get to enter 5 days after your team's season ends. Pirate Mitch says, what is the pecking order for quarterback? USF has 2 ranked above ours. UNLV, Arkansas State, App State, Bryant, and FIU all with quarterbacks above ours. We need to get to work. Again, look, here's the thing, Philip. If the Pirates had to roll out there tomorrow and their only 2 scholarship quarterbacks were Mitch Griffiths and Cole Hodge, I'd be worried. But I'm just saying, let's just withhold judgment until we know that the Pirates are done, because they're not done recruiting the quarterback position right now.
Yeah, I mean, let's kind of go back to late last week, right, Stephen, where we were like, hey, We shouldn't be freaking out that we haven't gotten a quarterback yet. If Wednesday of next week, which is now this week, rolls around and we haven't gotten a quarterback, that's a problem. Well, we've gotten a quarterback. Now, the crappy thing is Ditta left. I think the original plan of the coaching staff was to have Ditta and have whoever we got, which is Mitch Griffiths. Now, with that being said, I thought Cole Hodge was going to leave personally, just because Ditta. But if,
I can't confirm he was at the basketball game last night, by the way.
Oh, Cole Hodge was?
So he's still here.
Yeah. I get it. If it's later in the week, okay, maybe you can start to feel a different way. But we've got 4 days of this. And really, let's be honest. If they're allowing people to enroll on Friday, they're allowing them to enroll Saturday and Sunday too. We've got really 7 more days of this, at least. So let's not get too there's still the pecking order. And I know 2's not a lot or not enough, but there's plenty of guys in the portal.
And I remember vividly ECU. This was a couple years ago. Jalen Johnson played the national championship game for Georgia in 2022. He entered the portal after the national championship game, and he enrolled at ECU super late. They got him in the school. It can be done. If you want to get a guy in the school late, if everybody's on the same page, it can happen. And let's be real. If ECU is unwilling to manipulate to get a key player into school, then we're not serious about winning football games as an institution. These things are happening across the country. ECU's got to be able to play ball in that too. I'm not saying they need to cheat or do anything like that. I'm just saying academics and athletics have to be aligned. I think they will be in situations like this. If you get a key player late, you find a way to make it work. I mean, that's just, for me, what it comes down to. If you want to be a serious football school.
Look, and here's the thing. I'm not trying to put words in anybody's mouth, but I firmly believe that Philip Rogers is a sports fan. He does care about the athletics of ECU. He understands how much main campus can benefit from a healthy athletic department and specifically a healthy athletic football team. This guy is not just some rando we hired off the street. He is a well-qualified chancellor that is on boards. He is on athletic boards, not just academic boards. He understands. If we get a kid late, I'm sure he'll do everything he can. Without cheating, he's going to do everything he can.
Final things here before we get our break in and our final segment. Johnny Gardner says, who are tonight's guests on the Inside Athletics show for Pirate Athletics? They can be heard right here on 94.3 The Game. It will be Mike Schwartz and ECU AD John Gilbert per ECU. And also, Grimesland Bigfoot wants to know, is Trey Burke still intending on coming here? That is the quarterback from Spartanburg. Yes, he's here. He is your third scholarship quarterback, but he's a true freshman. And so you need at least 5. You need at least 4, probably 5. And that's why I think ECU will add 2 in addition to Griffiths, Hodge, and Burke. And let's get a break in. We will come back. Pirate Hoops lost a tough one last night or yesterday afternoon. It all runs together this time of year, but Pirates lose in overtime to UAB. We'll give our thoughts on that. Just a tough year for ECU on the hardwood. Also, Pirate Baseball not ranked. We'll react to that news to wrap up the show.
You know what the problem is with standard belts? Usually you have to choose between too tight or the opposite, too loose. But with Anson Belt and Buckle, you don't have to choose. We got rid of the holes and instead have a track system designed for micro-adjustability. That way you can enjoy a perfect fit every time. Anson Belt and Buckle. Find your perfect fit today.
Daughtridge Gas and Oil has been your dependable propane supplier for 95 years. Their trained technicians can service and properly install all your propane and natural gas appliances. Plus, Daughtridge Gas and Oil is your backyard expert with fire pits, grills, smokers, and more, including quality outdoor furniture at their Greenville Patio and Hearth Shop at 1901 Charles Boulevard. Go by and see the knowledgeable staff at Daughtridge Gas and Oil for propane delivery or call 756-1345.
Other restaurants claim their food is fresh and fast, but are they friendly? At Moore's, you're treated like family the minute you walk into their doors. With locations in Winterville, New Bern, Swansboro, Morehead City, and Jacksonville. We've been practicing what we preach since 1945. At Moore's, our barbecue is slow cooked and smoked over real wood daily until it's so tender it's falling off the bone. Combined with our fresh chicken, cooked to order seafood, and homemade fixins, we're sure you'll agree. If it's not Moore's, it's less.
Your confidence makes everything look good. You see the world in vivid color, not black and white. Swing through your neighborhood Fantastic Sam's Cut in Color and let our experienced stylists take you from everyday to extraordinary.
Fantastic Sam's hair salons are locally owned and operated. Our full-service salons are conveniently located in Goldsboro, Kinston, Greenville, New Bern, Jacksonville, and Calabash. Stop in today at Fantastic Sam's, where the possibilities are endless.
You have a choice when you invest in insurance, and when you choose First State Insurance Advisors, you're working with people you can trust. Clark Stallings has deep ties in the community. His team, including Keaton Smith, Regina Asby, Phil Leva, Max Joyner Jr., Max Joyner III, and Ginger Smith, provides knowledgeable and professional advice. First State Insurance Advisors is an independent insurance agency. They offer all types of personal insurance as well as various types for business. Call or email First State Insurance Advisors today. We want to be your trusted choice agency.
We're live with Stephen Igo on 94.3 The Game.
Hoist the Johnny Roger!
Now, back to Hoist the Colors.
Final segment, today's show. We talked NFL playoffs, ECU portal, get the little ECU basketball, baseball here. By the way, Philip Pilkington back with the 94.3 The Game studios with us. I've noticed, Philip, that no Lane Smith in the chat today. That's probably not a coincidence since the Eagles lost. I guess he's got to stay in hiding for a few days.
I'm surprised he's not saying in the chat what Mark Miller's saying to me in text. Like, I told you that our OC stunk and we need to fire him. I just thought he was going to be on here complaining. And he's got every right to complain because he's got a darn good football team. And he played a really good San Fran, but banged up San Fran team. And his OC didn't know how to call plays. So, if I was Lane, I'd be, like shooting beer cans like I'm, Kid Rock or something.
I mean, he only got a Super Bowl last year to celebrate anyways. I think he'll be all right.
Sure.
But, yeah, that whole Sirianni thing is – he just always – between him, A.J. Brown, Jalen Hurts, there's always something going on. Anyways, ECU falls to UAB. Actually, a very entertaining game. I don't know how many people watch playoffs over the game, but I took my 4-year-old son, took a picture with the 2 Military Bowl trophies. He was excited about that. Ended up being a very fun game. Goes to overtime. UAB prevails 87-85. Pirates drop to 5-11 on the season, 0-3 in conference. Looking ahead, they play at USF. Charlotte at home is a winnable game, but then they go at Wichita, at North Texas. So the road doesn't get much easier. Another winnable game. We saw positive signs. We'll get more into the big picture. I know everybody wants to talk about just the overall state of the program, and I understand it. We're going to have that conversation probably later this week. But, positive signs. I like the move of Isaiah Mbang to point. He's playing with more decisiveness than what we've seen Corey Calker. And I just thought that also that the recent addition, Demetri Gardner looked better. So, look, I don't know how much better they're going to be this season, but at least I think they are improving. Unfortunately, they're still just not good enough personnel-wise, Philip, to overcome some of the mistakes they're making.
They're not, but the thing with Demetri is it looked like a deer in the headlights that first game, and he really is starting to settle in 3 games in now. Maybe we finally have a shooter. He could actually hit some threes. That was great to see. And, unfortunately, we didn't make enough plays down the stretch in overtime, but they made enough plays to force overtime in a game in which they had trailed. And I think there's more cohesiveness than there's been all season long, which is great to see. So I think there's something to build on from that contest. Yes, you'd like to win it, but there are some teams at the bottom of this conference. And if you can sneak into the conference tournament, I think that's the big thing right now. And, you don't want to miss the conference tournament. And there's a handful of teams, and if they can continue to build off yesterday afternoon's performance, feel good about it.
Lane Smith, by the way, in the chat. I'm here, sad but here. So Lane Smith confirmed alive.
Yeah, look, Lane, I ain't gonna crap talk you because look, man, you guys, like I said, you got a good ball club. Fire your OC. You'll be back next year. Keep your head in there. You'll be all right.
T1 Baseball Top 25 came out. Surprised the Pirates are not present. Now, Aaron Fitt did watch ECU scrimmage Appalachian State, and ECU played awful that day in the fall, so maybe that's a reason why. But Pirates not in the preseason Top 25. You've got Coastal Carolina at number 6, Southern Miss number 20. Those are the only non-power programs. UCLA number 1, and also North Carolina number 11. So you're going to have some stiff competition. But I don't know. I think this is a good thing, Philip. Not ranked gives Cliff Godwin to motivate the boys.
Yeah, I think so. And, I think we're just on the outside of it, I'm sure, because like Perfect Game or one of those that nobody really cares about did rank us 25. Yeah. So, hey, look, he can use his motivation or whatever, but hey, you know what? You know what's enough motivation for me? That team they're playing the second weekend. You can go out there and take 2 out of 3 against that team. You'll be feeling pretty good about yourself. So, let's do it, baby. Baseball season, 1 month and 1 day away.
At the end of the day, Pirates have the schedule between North Carolina and Coastal Carolina. If they're a top 25 club, they can prove it very early in the season. So we'll see how it all unfolds. All right, we got to get out of here. This was a fun show, fun Monday show. We'll continue to react to more playoff football tonight come Tuesday at noon. And I'll tell you what, with baseball season on the horizon, we'll get into maybe some position or player profiles each day starting this week at some point. I have to look into that to get that going. But appreciate everybody tuning in. We'll see you Tuesday, 12 noon for the latest on Pirate Athletics. Thanks for listening.